Hello everybody. What you're looking at is almost 8 pounds of hamburger. It's 93%. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare this for food storage. I looked on the net on a few different ways. Most folks stick them in canning jars and cook it and seal it like you would can other items. Didn't really want to do that just because, you know, if you can it wrong, it's going to kill you. Apparently a lot of people in the past, in the old days, got sick and died for improperly canned foods, meat, whatever they did. I found there was a technique I found out on the web. We're going to dehydrate it. So what you do, you're going to cook it, fully cook it. You're going to drain off all the grease on it. I even give it a hot shower, a quick hot shower with water to help get rid of all the extra grease out of it, and run it through the dehydrator. And for me, I think that's a little bit better way to do it. One, it's dehydrated, low moisture for bacteria and mold and stuff to grow on. And two, I'm going to vacuum pack it in mason jars. So with a lack of oxygen, it should last quite a long time. Now I'm not an expert. I couldn't tell you how long. I've different scenarios on the web. 10 years, 15 years if it's, you know, packed correctly, kept cool, out of light and all that stuff. Don't have an exact science on it, so I'm just shooting in the dark on that. I'm not going to season this meat. I figure I'll do season it whenever it's ever reconstituted. And it's fairly easy to reconstitute. Just put a little boiling water, let it sit for a few minutes, and it's good to go. So for the safety part of it and for a good long term, I'm going to dehydrate my hamburger. Give me a few minutes, we'll get it going in the pan here. Okay, you see here I'm getting it browning the meat, making sure it's really cooked. I'm going to give it a really good cooking, and after that I'm going to give it a good rinse with some hot water, not boiling water, but just hot water from the tap. Help wash any kind of grease out, grease, fat, oil, whatever you want to call it. Now again, I'm using 93% burger. I'm going with the leaner stuff. I didn't go quite as lean. They got some 96 out there. I just don't like the taste of 96, and it's also a lot more expensive. So I'm running with a 93. The 80%, 70%, I'm going to say no, because that is just too much fat. My recommendation is just do 90, 93. And again, this is not seasoned. I don't know if you should season it now, or it wouldn't hurt. I'm just not going to do it, and I'll just wait until whatever I add this in, whenever I reconstitute it, I'll add whatever seasonings in I want to at that time. But now, as you see, just giving it a good thorough cooking and a real good browning on it. Okay everybody, here we go. All 8 pounds have been cooked and it's set in the dehydrator. This 93 didn't have any grease to pour off or anything, so I did skip the rinsing part of it. I guess you need to do that on some of the higher fat contents of the meat, but there was nothing to pour off. One thing you do need to do, whatever your hydrator, this ain't really designed for this one, but it kind of fits, is you need one of these little bitty, I think they call them like a fruit roll-up screen or whatever that is. Because your bits and pieces of hamburger, as they shrivel up, they tend to fall through these bigger, let me see if I can pull that back, they'll fall through the bigger holes. Like you can see that right there, that's really huge. And your bits and pieces of burger will fall through there as other stuff, like I like to dehydrate jalapenos and cilantro and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to plug this thing in, give it all night, hopefully it'll be done by the morning, and we'll go from there. Okay everybody, it's been about 17 hours later, and here you go. You hear how crunchy it is. Here's one big piece. One thing I don't think I mentioned is kind of important to have these bigger pieces in the smaller pieces for better drying. But you can see it breaks apart. And that little screen, see how the big old
air gaps there. I got that bottom one. It's going to catch all that, or it'd be at the bottom of the heating element. But this is what it looks like when it's done. See that it just crumbles apart, so that's nice and dry. Also, I'm going to go through here on these big pieces, break them up like so, make sure they're not still damp in the middle. See, that one looks good. So that's it. You know you're done when it's nice, crispy, and dry. And I'm going to bottle these up in jars. I'm going to vacuum pack them with my food saver. I won't show that. I'm sure everybody's seen people use the food saver on vacuum sealing lids. But I'll show you how much it went down to. Remember, this was almost 8 pounds. This is just a hair under of 8 pounds. And again, I'm not 100% sure how long it lasts. It's not as good as freeze dried, but with the moisture and oxygen removed, it's got to last for years. Reconstituting it, just got to use it with hot water. 1 cup of meat roughly is what I'm going to try to do. I don't know the exact recipe. 1 cup of hot water. 1 cup of dried beef, and I'd pour just enough hot water up to reconstitute it, and we'll cover it and let it sit there for a while. And then a little more, a little less from then. And if you get too much water, you can drain it off, throw it back in a skillet, and fry it back up to heat it up that way too. Okay, let me go get this stuff in jars and I'll be right back. Okay folks, here's the final product. If you remember, I started out with just shy of under 8 pounds, close enough to call it 8 pounds. Put them into jars. Like I said, we're going to show you vacuum sealing jars with the food savers. I'm sure everybody else has seen that on other videos. But this jar has just shy of 1 pound of product. Along with this one, they came out to 15¼ ounces. And then the little jar came out to 7 ounces, 7.35 ounces. So just about 2¼ pounds roughly of final dried product. So it did get rid of a lot of weight. So like I said, I'm not going to be afraid to put that up for a long time and use it whenever. No moisture, no oxygen in there. So okay, if anybody else has any other ideas, let me know. One thing I did notice, on the next batch I probably will go ahead and rinse it out with really hot water. And I noticed on the bottom of the pan, when I was putting this all in, making sure it's breaking up and stuff, it was just a little bit on the lid, had a little bit of grease on the stuff on the bottom. So take that off. So the next batch I will try to rinse it out with hot water and see if that eliminates some of that. I'm assuming less grease or fat in there would be the best. So okay, take care. Okay. Got to thinking after I finished that last bit, there's going to be folks, including myself, kind of wondering how much does it take to reconstitute the dry back into a 1 pound amount for whatever we're cooking. So I decided to add a little bit to this video, and we're going to find out. What you see in front of us is exactly 1 pound, again, of 93%. And I'm going to do also a volume on this also. This is a 2-cup measuring cup, and as you can see right there is the 2. So that is just a hair below 2 cups. It's so close. This ain't a piano. We're going to call it 2 cups. 1 pound is 2 cups. This ain't a piano. Good enough for government work. So I'm going to dehydrate this one, cook it up, dehydrate it, and then I'm going to weigh it. I got a little kitchen digital scale. We'll see how much it is by weight and also by volume. So if anybody else out there who does this, and also for myself, when it times to come to reconstitute some of the supply there, I know how much to do to get 1 pound. And if you have a recipe that says 2 pounds or 1.5 pounds, you can do the math and go from there. So from now, we go ahead and get that out of here. I'm going to get that to cooking, and I'll be back in a flash with the dehydrated goods.
Okay, folks, yeah, I said we'd be back in a flash. Okay, here we go. Here's that 1 pound of ground beef. And I took the tear off on the cup, but you see it's down to 4.85 ounces from 1 pound, 16 ounces. So rounded up, easy math, 5 ounces. So, and here's the volume. You can see how much is in that cup. Now there is going to be a lot of dead airspace from the bigger chunks and stuff, so we'll probably drop down to about half of that if you were to break it all up and remove it down and get to a finer thing. So if you did that, it would take about half, we'll call that about half of its original volume. But as for the weight, you can see from 16 ounces or 1 pound, 4.85. So if you have recipes, if you do this, you know, just under 5 ounces of dried meat will get you a 1 pound amount reconstituted for your recipe. Anyway, I hope this helps and everything. Everybody take care and God bless.